The fanfare, the adrenaline rush, the audience engagement, and of course the revenue from the week of the year's best deals. It has become so loud and crowded that standing out is nearly impossible. So how do marketers break through the noise of Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, and the rest of the spending frenzy? Marketing and sales are full of myths, misconceptions, and even flat-out lies. Join us as we put the turkey and mashed potatoes down to talk a little Black Friday pizzazz.
Hello, and welcome to the Rethink Marketing Podcast. I'm Nick Smith, joined by the sterling savant of systematically standing out, Mr. Marketing, Colin Jeffries.
The savant. I feel like you might be overselling me a little bit here, Nick, but appreciate the compliment.
Absolutely. Well, Colin, I'm very excited about this. 'Tis the season, and I'm actually a big fan of Black Friday as a consumer, so this is going to be a fun topic.
Agreed, and I think for some brands, it can work out really well. It can really be a boon to a strong brand, especially if they're really well known in the retail space for Black Friday, if they're well known in the local space for Small Business Saturday, and then of course for e-com on Cyber Monday. It's hard to beat that.
Best Buy. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. There's a lot of these. Actually, I haven't even, I have to admit, I haven't heard of Small Business Saturday. I'm almost embarrassed.
Well, you've at least heard of Giving Tuesday, right?
I have heard of Giving Tuesday. I have heard of Cyber Monday. I have heard of Black Friday. And for a while, people were saying Brown Thursday because it became a thing where on Thanksgiving Day, certain stores would open up, in the afternoon. So all of the people could kind of meander in after their Thanksgiving dinner in a food coma stupor and spend all their money.
It's interesting to see how traditional retail is trying to compete with e-com by opening earlier and inviting people to come in on holidays, inviting their staff to work on holidays or forcing their staff to work on holidays. That seems like what we're going to talk about today, which is not getting lost and absorbed and frankly adrift in the cacophony that has become Black Friday. And I'll say for our audience, when I say Black Friday, I'm not referring to specifically Black Friday, but it's the whole cluster of events, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday, Small Business Saturday, all of those things kind of worked into one. But if we say all of them every time we mention Black Friday, I think it's going to get a little bit heady, if you will. So, Nick, I think the Black Friday playbook is pretty clear for most retailers, for most small businesses. Steep discounts, big revenue, big fanfare around it, a lot of paid media. It seems like most people, frankly, are running the same plays. How do you think that we break out of that?
It's a good question. Coming from a sales perspective, I've never really been on the on that side of Black Friday. I've always just dealt with it as a consumer. I can't think of too many B2B brands that do Black Friday. Am I completely crazy here?
No, I think it is more of a direct-to-consumer play. However, I will say that there have been some businesses that have done a successful job of basically taking some sort of Black Friday promotion and then leveraging it for a particular period of time. So maybe it's not Black Friday specifically, one day only, but it might be for the month of November or for a 2-week period or something of that nature. That tends to be a little bit more common with B2B because they recognize you're not going to get your whole decision-making unit together on the Friday after Thanksgiving to decide what ERP to invest in, right?
Actually, I almost think of Amazon when you bring that up. I feel like they've done a really good job of that. They've created their own events. They've broken the pattern. Obviously they're huge, so they can afford the eyeballs to get the message out about some of the things that they're doing. But they'd be an example, just looking at it externally, of someone I think who's done it pretty well.
That's a great example. Think of all the press they got about not having Black Friday deals the first time that they moved to Prime Days. Yeah, I think that's excellent. I'll say too that as a marketer, when I'm thinking about how do we get attention, generally the play, if you're in a crowded space, are banner ads, loss leaders, blogs about XYZ markdowns on Black Friday, of course, search engine marketing, maybe paid social even. But the thing about now is that everybody's doing that for Black Friday, and we have a midterm election coming up. So leading into Black Friday, there's all this additional advertising spend that's being thrown at potential customers, that's being thrown at potential voters to try to get attention. So when I think about all of the channels that are clogged and all of the channels that are open, PR might be a really smart way to stand out. And of course, nobody who's in the media wants to pick up a story that says, hey, Nick Smith is offering a 50% discount on his headphones this month, right? So instead, we have to think about really creative solutions. So instead of saying, hey, I'm going to stand on the rooftop with everyone else and shout about dollars being saved, maybe instead we tout a really unique experience. So for example, a car dealership could give away $5,000 just like everyone else is doing, right? $5,000 off your new Tundra. Or they could take that money and they could give some of it back to customers and they could give the rest to them with a week in the Bahamas. Every new Tundra purchased between November 1st and November 20th, free week in the Bahamas. And then they're selling an experience. It's a little bit more noteworthy. It definitely stands out. It's unique from everyone else who is saying, hey, $5,000 cash back. The other thing I'll add to that is in today's environment of 8+% inflation, of record rate hikes, 0% interest on options that need to be financed can be really, really important too, and a big differentiator. Now, is that as noteworthy or as press-worthy as giving people a free trip to the Cayman Islands with every truck they buy? Probably not, but it might be something that's really important to our customers. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you got me sitting here wanting a Tundra right now. Mostly because I want to go to the Bahamas. I agree. I think, it's a good point. You can't just do what everybody else is doing if you're going to break through the noise. You have to do something different. And sometimes different just means, spending your money in a different way, or I don't know, it is tough. I feel like that 0%, very few people are doing that right now because of the economic environment. And so that would definitely capture my attention. The experiences, absolutely love that idea. What's interesting? This has me thinking about how certain things can actually even cost less money and yet be more attractive. And I'd be interested in figuring that out, because maybe that trip to the Bahamas is only $2,000 as opposed to that $5,000 cash back, right? But because people have never maybe gone out and purchased that before, there's a little bit of informational imbalance. There's some informational imbalance there. And so people might value that much more than that $5,000 cash back.
Well, imagine if you were a golf course, and this doesn't necessarily have to be a Black Friday play. This could be a spring play when you're trying to get additional signups to join your country club. Imagine though you are a country club and you're trying to attract new members. You could feasibly set up a one-hole event where people come in, and if they get a hole in one, they get a free membership for a year or something of that nature. Then you're getting foot traffic in, you're getting people that are actually playing a hole on the course. I mean, there's a level of excitement, a level of PR that could go into that. That's totally different than what any other country club is doing. A really good example of this for Black Friday specifically are insurance plays. And I don't mean Geico advertising, and I don't mean Progressive advertising. What I'm referencing are insurance against events, or for events maybe. So as a business, we could go buy insurance that says for every refrigerator purchased, for every piece of furniture purchased, for every car purchased on between this day and that day, if the Texans win the Super Bowl in 2023, all of that's free, covered by the insurance that we're buying. And usually that type of insurance is a small percentage of whatever sold based on the likelihood of that event happening. So if you pick the Patriots to win the Super Bowl, there's a higher likelihood of that occurring than the Texans. So the insurance is more expensive. It might be 2 or 3% versus 0.5% of what's sold. And the nice thing with that is, as a business, I could mark everything up 0.5%, and customers would probably be willing to pay the extra 0.5% of whatever they're buying, with the risk or with the potential reward that they'll get that for free. So it can actually be kind of a break-even proposition for businesses that generates a lot more revenue, that generates a lot more excitement. And then imagine if the Texans did win the Super Bowl and we were able to give everything away for free, then all of a sudden there's a huge PR play in February in addition to our PR play in November. So lots of opportunity there, again, if that's relevant to your business.
Colin, I'm curious, how do you feel about, you mentioned devaluing your brand, and we see so many of these deep discounts. What do you think about that? Because sometimes that deep discount, you're right, like loss leaders can absolutely be a profit mechanism, not directly, but indirectly, because it gets somebody in the door. But other times it's not worth it because maybe people only go for that loss leader and you have all this foot traffic there, but nobody buys anything else when they're in the store. I'm just curious how you think about that.
For sure. I think there are various ways that we can cut it, and all of it depends on what the business goals are. So a friend of mine got a mailer from a large regional bank, and the mailer said $300 if you open an account, keep it open for 90 days, and do a direct deposit of at least $500 one time. So what did he do? He signed up for an account. He went on to his employer's website or on his employer's payment processor, and he set up a one-time $501 deposit, direct deposit, and then held the account for 90 days, transferred all the money out, and then closed the account, kept the $300. And there were marketers in a room who strategically said, hey, our key performance indicator is whatever. New assets under management, new money under management. It's number of new accounts open within this time period. It's whatever that is, right? And they probably hit their KPI. More people opened accounts. They got more assets under management. They hit whatever number that they were trying to hit. But what they didn't specify was number of accounts that will stay open 120 days, 360 days from now, right? So I think it all comes back to what's the objective. And if the objective is, hey, we need foot traffic in the store, we need people to show up, and if we give them a free sandwich, they're going to buy a soft drink, right? Whatever that is, I think if we're leveraging loss leaders, if we're leveraging steep discounts to do that, great. But we have to be really careful that if our value proposition is we're the highest quality, we're premium, we're luxury, and all of a sudden we're cutting our prices in half, that does two things. First, it allows people to see, hey, maybe their margins are padded so much that they can afford to mark things down 50%. But B, it conditions our customers to then say, hey, if they're doing a Black Friday special, I'm going to wait till their Veterans Day special or their Memorial Day special or their Labor Day special, right? And it can condition people for appliances, for cars, for you name it. Now, instead of them going out on August 1st and buying a car, I might wait until Labor Day because it's just around the corner and I know there are big markdowns for Labor Day, right? So I think we have to be really careful that we're not committing brand suicide by offering loss leaders and steep discounts on our products. And again, I feel like we say this all the time, almost every episode, but some businesses, QSR, makes a lot of sense to do discounts because you'll have people that come in just for the discount, but then they'll come back later. And you'll have people that aren't going to wait from August 1st to early September to get a cheeseburger for free, right? They'll come in and patron your restaurant and then they'll come back and get the free cheeseburger at some point.
Kind of goes back to those old trial and repeat rates.
Exactly. Well, Nick, I know we're about out of time, but any closing thoughts on Black Friday?
Yeah, probably that I'm one of the worst offenders. If you look at the big box stores, me and my wife, we enjoy Black Friday, and we're those people that only go out and get the good deal and don't come back. So that's like the only time.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, as a marketing leader, I can say we know when we're offering discounts and deals and specials that some people will take advantage of them, literally take advantage of them, and some people will feel obligated to spend more money, and some people will ignore it. And if the objective is foot traffic, if the objective is new revenue, if the objective is whatever, and that's accomplished by people coming in and taking advantage of that deal, or we recognize, hey, 10% of people are going to come in, get the free thing and leave. They're not going to spend extra dollars. That's okay as long as it accomplishes the objective. I will say no Black Friday episode is complete without me referencing Cards Against Humanity. I'm not endorsing the company, but they did something that was really creative. I believe this was 3 or 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. They doubled the price of their games on Black Friday, and they sold a lot of product, and they got a PR push out of it because everyone else is slashing prices. And here Cards Against Humanity is being true to their brand, is being ironic, is being punchy, and they're doubling the price on Black Friday. So we don't have to play by the traditional playbook that says deep discounts, paid media, just try to scream like everybody else. We can definitely look at creative ways to get outside of the Black Friday cacophony.
What a great episode. I definitely got some ideas on how to stand out on the next Black Friday. Hopefully you'll get some of those same ideas. Until next time, keep rethinking those common assumptions.
I used to believe a lot of myths that hinder marketing.
And I bought into the classic misconceptions haunting sales.
Join us as we escape the echo chamber each week to shed some light on how to interpret sales and marketing advice.
Can't wait until next week for another episode? Visit rethinkmarketingpodcast.com to listen to our archives, connect with us, or request your very own limited edition Rethink Marketing t-shirt.
Until next time, keep rethinking those common assumptions.